So I suppose that moves us seamlessly onto laughter and how important that is to you, because I actually listened to the first episode of your podcast and I was chuckling away at your reaction to when you got the diagnosis was to go out and eat an inordinate amount and just do random things. And I think even that, for people to hear that and go, oh yeah, I don't have to have any type of reaction. If that's what my natural reaction is to go and do that, just go and do it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's about just, because I keep using the word normalize, but it is. It's just about, you don't have to be brave and fight it and all this nonsense that is thrown at you. If you want to go and bawl in a corner, do. And like I say in my book, if you want to go and listen to Radiohead and eat a whole packet of Tang Fastics, go ahead. Nobody's going to kind of, you must eat a rainbow diet and you've got to fight it and I'm not going to let it beat me, and all this rubbish. It just puts pressure on that person, because all that war thing, there's a quote, which of course I can't remember, but you can't defeat cancer through mindset. It helps, but all you're doing is piling pressure on that person who's got to behave in a certain way. And what we say is just behave how you want. And if you want to be outrageous, be it. And if you don't. But don't let anyone tell you how you react the way that you want to react, basically. And I think for me, not initially, but the more I go on, I mean, you still got scan anxiety. I've got a mammogram next week, actually. And, going in there is still quite horrible, but you just laugh about it, So hopefully it helps.
Yeah, I think it is a big pressure, isn't it, of people. There's so much in the press, the language that's used of they've battled, they've beat it, as you say. And then some people must think, oh God, well, I'm shit then, because I can't battle. I don't feel like battling. I feel like, like you say, just going hiding under the duvet and having a cry for 2 days. So I think that's brilliant that there's people out there going, no, you don't. And I think maybe it's people who haven't experienced it who use that language without actually thinking about it.
Yeah, and I don't know where that language came from, because, if you have a heart attack, they don't say, you've got to fight it and beat it. We'll beat this heart attack. It just, I don't know where it comes from, but I find it really unhelpful. I don't find it helpful at all. I find people who just, ring me up and are really outrageous about it, they're just treating me like a normal human being. That's what I find helpful. Do you know what I mean? And that's where laughter comes in.
Yeah. And would you say before that laughter was part of your life anyway, that you consider yourself as laughter's vital anyway?
I'd like to think so. But, I'm not a stand-up comedian like you, Mary, but I do think my dad was he was a very funny man. And I think if you can, laugh at things, then, just finding the humour in lots of really stupid things is just what gets you through the day, really. Because I don't think I think the British have a very funny sense of humour. And I think we are naturally, as a nation, let's just stereotype the whole British, we find the humour in a lot of like really ridiculous things. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I enjoy, I think, with humour. I like the kind of play on words and just ridiculous quickness of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we tend to quite like dark humour, don't we? Like the more you shouldn't laugh at something, the funnier it is, really, isn't it? And I think
Well, I used to be a probation officer, and some of the things we used to laugh at, I was in a group once, and used to run groups with offenders, and this was a very, very difficult group, actually. I loved all the offenders I worked with. Most of them I really liked. And this guy came in, he was absolutely off his head and got really aggressive with me. And we were piloting the cognitive behavioural group work for the Home Office at the time. And they were videoing the tutors. And then they used to watch it and criticise it. And I stood at the door and said, "Get out like this. So every single time I walked into any probation officer in Hampshire, everyone would go, "Get out." It was just like my kind of catchphrase.
Your new tagline.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think kind of, it's like my dog. I was talking to someone the other day. I've got a Jack Russell dog, and she, let's just say she's got a bit of a personality. She's a right bruiser. And things that really make me laugh is my partner goes around doing impressions of the dog like he's an East End gangster. And he's like, "Have it." Like,
Yeah.
on my patch. When they're like going out shouting at the birds, So, and we call the dog Millwall.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, stupid things like that make me laugh, really.
Yeah. So, and are there any sort of comedians or anything you like? I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any like comedians who've spoken about or having cancer or anything.
There's someone
like that.
called,
I don't know if you're aware of it.
There's one called Tig in America, and I want to get her on my show, but I thought I'm not going to approach her until I've got a few more under my belt because we were a startup. But I think she does a whole routine about it. I think she's a really funny woman and does stuff about this stuff. There's a woman in Australia who does as well. But I tell you, one of the questions you asked me was what made me laugh. And I think one of my favourite programmes was Malcolm in the Middle. I really, really like the writing on that. But I think I was trying to work out why I like it so much. It's because the characters are just ridiculous, but you're rooting for them all the way through it. You really like them. And, I just think Hal, the father in that, is just a brilliant, brilliant character. So I just like programs like that, really. People that aren't afraid to look ridiculous or put themselves out of their comfort zone. Do you know what I mean? I kind of admire people like that.
Yeah, so sort of the bit more of the surreal, absurd edge of things.
But a lot of things make me...
I think that about Schitt's Creek. Like, I don't know if you've watched
I've seen a bit of it.
The characters in it are awful.
Yeah.
And I started watching it. I don't like this at all. But by the end, I was completely in love with them all because they have this fantastic character arc in the story.
Yeah.
I think that
exactly.
the humour in that is really dark as well in places.
Yeah, that's why I like kind of clever humour. I mean, I think when we were brought up on Benny Hill. Well, you're probably not as old as me. I don't think anyone's as old as me.
Kenny Everett was my...
Oh, I love Kenny Everett. Yeah.
But I don't think I think a lot of what he was saying probably went over my head when I was that young.
Yeah.
But
I think the Carry On films were, a lot of stuff was really quite rude that I never got. Do you know what I mean? Never understood.
Yeah.
So I think slapstick comedy's okay, but I prefer more intelligent. Let's be ridiculous, but more layered comedy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you got a favourite joke?
Well, this was difficult, but my partner Patrick, his dad used to run a pub. And do you know the singing priest? He was the opening act for the Pope, apparently. And and Paddy once got up in the morning and his dad was having a fried breakfast with the singing priest. They'd been up all night, chatting. And the priest told Paddy a joke, and it's my favourite joke. You can kiss a nun once, you can kiss a nun twice, but you can't get into the habit. I just think that's brilliant.
I love that, yes.
So, yeah.
Well, I do love a pun, so that is...
Yeah, I just thought that was very funny. I think also because of the story behind it as well, the singing priest, who I think when he died, they found out he had kind of children and all sorts. So that was quite funny as well.
God. Yeah, I love that. I like that a lot.